everybody, I'm back. That's right, I'm back from my 2-month break that I took. So I decided I was going to start off with just what have I been doing the 2 months that I took off and not recorded any videos. As you remember, back in December, I said that I was going to take a break because I wanted to work on some other things besides my card making. I do other crafts, and so that's what I did. I didn't get to do a lot that I wanted to do in the month of December because I'm still having problems with my foot that I injured when I was on vacation in Florida when I was riding one of these. I found out that I did have some torn ligaments. Initially they thought that it wasn't, but apparently I did tear ligament in my foot, and I ended up at least not having to have a cast, but I am having to wear a boot. And I've been wearing the boot since the 19th of January because that was the point where I could finally stand to have something on my foot besides just a sock. I wasn't able to get a shoe on without being in a lot of pain. So now I've been wearing this boot, and as I said, I've been wearing it since the 19th of January, and I'm still having some problems. I can't drive with it on, so I have to use a cane when I'm not wearing the boot. But I did manage to finally get down into my basement where I keep my sewing machine, and I did some sewing, and I did do some jewelry making, and I did cheat and do a couple of cards. Now I'm not going to show you how to make the cards that I made. I will at the end of the video show pictures of the cards because I don't have them anymore. And also, I know a lot of you probably were wondering what was in Skylar's box that I made and gave to her for Christmas. I said I would show that this year with the first video. So I'm going to show a picture of it because I don't have the actual item that was in the box because I sent it to her. So this is what was inside the box. And I did, for the earrings, make these using my new embroidery machine. And I did a whole lot of other things. I've been making a lot of jewelry using the embroidery machine. So what else have I been working on? Well, I have been working on a little project that I started, once again using the sewing machine. And I've mentioned once before that I started a little knitting group where I work, and this year we've also incorporated crocheting for those who wanted to learn how to crochet, because I do knit and crochet. And last year we did all get together and knit strips to make for one of our co-workers who was dealing with cancer. Well, unfortunately, he did pass away in January. I was glad that we were at least able to finish the blanket and give it to him before he passed away. Now we did knit some strips for one of the women that is in my knitting group who is also dealing with cancer, and her prognosis is very good right now, which we were all glad to hear. So we did get together and knit strips for her to make her a blanket. And unfortunately, I didn't take a picture of it before we gave it to her. But I did also knit strips along with the other women in my knitting group. So I decided I wanted to do something special for the women that are in my knitting group. So what I've done is I've gone ahead and made these little project bags, and what it basically is a bag that they can put their knitting items in to carry when they're knitting in the car or at the doctor's office or someplace. So I made each person their own bag, and I'm going to bring them up. I pretty much put the same thing in each bag, but I did it with different types of fabric. So I'm going to start with the first one. So this is the actual bag, and as you recall, I did make one of these for my mother for her birthday last year, and I put the initials of each woman on the front of the bag, and basically it's just a drawstring bag that you pull together like this, and they can keep their little knitting project inside here. So now, once I did the bags, I decided, oh, I want to give them something to put some supplies in. So I went ahead and made these little pouches, and I'm going to bring this up so you can see. I embroidered Fran's name on her bag, and then I did some little stitching here on the front of the bag. And I didn't have a pattern for these. I learned how to make these in my embroidery club. Where I bought my machine, they have an embroidery club, and we meet once a month, and one of the women that is in the club, showed me how to make this bag. You can make them in any size you want, and you just put them together. They're real simple to put together. So inside each bag, I've put a tape measure, because it's better when you are measuring and you're knitting that you use a metal type tape measure. So I just picked these up at Harbor Freight, and then I also stuck a crochet hook in here. And what this is for is when you're knitting and you drop your stitches, this helps you pick up your stitches. And it's also, if you are a crocheter, you can use it for that too. So that's what's inside that bag. And then I decided, I found on the web, this website, to make this little notebook cover holder. So this is for them to jot down little notes when they're knitting, or if they want to count what row they're on, they can make little tick marks. And I just picked these little notepads up at the dollar store, and they fit inside this cover here. And I did do this on the embroidery machine as well, and I just put the first letter of Fran's initial, and it does come with each letter of the alphabet, so that comes with the file. And then I add just one of these little jelly roll pins here. And then the last thing I wanted to make sure each of them had was something to hold a set of scissors in. Now, I could have just had the scissors and placed them in this bag here, but I had actually started doing this file first, and I liked the way it looked because it had the little owl with the eyes, and the scissors fit in to look like glasses. And once I had that, I then came up with the idea for the little pouch. So this can go inside here if they want, or they can just keep it out and put it inside the bag. It's up to however they want to do it. So I'm going to stick it in here for now. And then the bag just zips up like so. And this is what it looks like on the back. So that is the first one that I did. So then the next lady or girl or woman, I made hers. Her favorite color is actually purple. A girl after my own heart. Love that purple. So I made her one just as well, and I put her initials on the front. And then I did the same thing. I made her a bag and put her name across the front. And this one, I added some little decorative stitching on the zipper part. And this also includes a crochet hook and the tape measure. And then I also went ahead and made her a holder for the notebook with a pen. And I attached a purple pen and her first initial across the front here. And then I also made her the little scissor case that looks like an owl. And this is actually made out of felt. and that's felt across the front. This one is the fabric, and then in the inside here I used some stretch velour fabric that I had. So that is that one. So now we'll move on to the next one. So here is the next one that I did. And no, I did not do all of these in one day, just in case you're wondering. I did break this up. I kind of did the bags first. Actually, I take that back. I did the owls first. The owl holder or scissor holder, I did those first. And then I think I did the bags, and then I did the little pouches, and then I did the notebook holders. So this is the next bag, and her initials are CR. And inside, here is her bag, and I've gone ahead and embroidered her name across the front. You might not be able to see that, but it says Christian. And she's also got a crochet hook and a tape measure in the inside. And then here is her notebook holder and pen. And the file comes with all of this stitching and everything, so I didn't have to, you know, guess at how to do what they call freelance quilting. This particular file came with this already on here, and actually you had a choice of which type of cover as far as your design that you wanted to make, and I decided to go with this one. And then I went ahead and put her initial for her first name on the front, and then here is her scissor holder, and this is also made out of felt. So that is that one. And then here is the next one. This is the initials for this one, and once again I used some more of the fabric. It's like a canvas fabric, and I actually got all of this fabric off of the clearance rack at Joann's. So we'll open this one up, and I did line each bag, and this is an actual pattern that I purchased. But they're real simple to put together. I put them together in less than an hour. And they also come in various sizes. So I've made one for myself, which I'll show you at the end, and I'll show you what it looks like. And I have made it in a smaller size. So let me just show you real quick. This is her holder, for notebook holder and pen. And then here is her bag, and I've done some more decorative stitching on the outside, and my embroidery machine does all of this. And then I stitched out her name, Coco, and inside is the crochet hook and the tape measure. And then here is her scissor holder, and this is the back with the felt. Got some strings that I probably need to go ahead and cut, so I'm going to just snip that real quick, get that out of there. And so that's that one, and I'll have pictures of these at the end of the video. And we'll move on to the next one. So this is my next one, and this is the fabric that I made it out of, and this is her initials. And then for the inside, this is her bag. And once again, I've done some more decorative stitching at the top, and her name is written out, and it's Vanessa. And I don't know if you'll be able to see that on the camera, but you can see it in person. And I've put some synthetic suede on the back of this one, only because I ran out of fabric to put on the other side. And if I didn't say that, all of the bags are lined. As you can see, I used the synthetic suede, and then I have the lining along here. So I really like the way that fabric feels. And then I just by chance had some ribbon that had these colors in there, so that's what I used. And I can't remember, did I show the owl? I'll just bring it out again. Here is the owl or the scissor holder case, and in here is her notebook holder. And I used some of the soft suede only because I knew I was going to be making other things, and I only had a little bit of this fabric. I initially, when I bought this fabric, I didn't know, I was just going to do bags and nothing else, and then I came up with the idea of adding these extra things, so I had to be real scarce about holding on to how much fabric I had, because I didn't purchase the same amount for each piece. And so for the last bag, so there were six women in the group. This is the last one that I did, and I went ahead and put her initials on the front, and I only had a very small amount of this one. I had enough to do the bag, and then I also lined it with the same fabric, which, had I not done that, I would have been able to make her bag a little bigger, but I ended up only having a small amount. So like I said, you can make these little bags in different sizes, because as you can see, this one is a little bit bigger. So you just cut out, you just decide whatever size you want to make it, and that's what you use. So in this case, since I only had a small amount of fabric, I had to just use just this piece, and I've I've embroidered her name across the front, and then on the back I ended up using what I had used on the top portion of the bag, because I didn't have enough to go on the back and also line the bag as well. So I had to just go with what I had, and I did have enough to do the notebook holder. And let's see, we got to put a pen with hers because the pen is missing, so I have to add a pen to that one. I thought it might have fallen out in the bag, but it hasn't. And then here is her scissors holder. I really like that lime green. It really stands out. So as I said, I did make one for myself, and I actually made mine first before I made theirs, and that's what made me come up with the idea. So this is mine, and I've actually got a knitting project inside here, as a matter of fact. And inside mine, like I said, I do have a knitting project in there. I'm actually making a pair of socks, so that's what I'm working on. But I didn't make a pouch for myself. I am going to make one. What I did make was this actual pouch here, and this is also made with, all of this is made with the embroidery machine, and it's actually called an in the hoop design. So everything is done within the hoop of your embroidery machine. And I got this from, I believe it's Disorderly Threads. I think that's the name of it. I will put a link down below in case anyone's interested in making something like this and you have an embroidery machine. But I really thought that this was really cute, and I actually was going to make everybody one of these, but this was a time consuming, so I just decided to go ahead with the other idea, because those pouches are really easy to make. And I do have quite a few things inside mine. Oops, some pair of scissors dropped there. So I have my stitch row counter and crochet hooks. I don't know why I have so many in here for when I drop stitches. And I also have my chibis, and this is basically for the needles for if you have to sew things together or darning. So, and then a stitch holder, which I needed to use for holding my stitches when I was knitting the socks. And then I also do have a tape measure inside there. So I got quite a bit of stuff in here, so that's why I think I'm going to make myself one of those bags, and I'm going to use this for something else, because it is starting to get kind of full. And I do have a scissor holder in here, and this is what so I know you're probably wondering, how come I don't have a purple one, right? Because we all know purple is my favorite color. And let me go ahead and put this back in here. And if you're wondering what this is how I count when I get ready to sew my socks together at the toe. There's a step that you have to follow. So I have this attached to here because I always forget what it is I'm supposed to do. But here is my notebook holder right here. And like I said, this was the first one that I came up with. So now you're wondering, how come she doesn't have a purple one? Well, I do have a purple one. Okay, so here is my purple one. And I just took some, actually this is what is called a fat quarter. And you can purchase those. It's like an 18 by 21 inch piece. And I went ahead and took 2 of them to put this bag together. And this was just some scrap fabric that I had. And then I went ahead and I lined it with the lime green. And actually, in this one I just have the other yarn to make the other sock. And calculator, you know, just a few things that I need for when I'm knitting. And then, like I said, you can make these in different sizes. This is another one that I made using some fabric that I had left over from a project that I made for my mother for, I think it was her birthday 2 years ago. And this was actually my first one, very first bag that I did. And I lined it with this fabric in the inside here. And I actually have a crochet project that I'm working on here. So I have quite a few projects that I work on at one time. And that's why I said I needed to take a break, because I miss doing my knitting and crocheting. So I wanted to do that. Now remember, as I said, you can make those little pouches in different sizes as well. So this one is a little bigger, and now I didn't make this one. This one I got as a gift at Embroidery Club. At Christmas time, they have a Christmas party, and this is my first year joining this Embroidery Club. And as I said, it's at the place where I purchased my sewing machine. And what they do is we have a little party, and we exchange gifts. So you don't know whose name, we don't pull names or anything like that. The 2 women that organize this, when you come in, everybody brings a gift, you put it on the table, and then they just pass out the bags to each one of us, so you don't know who you're making something for. And I did make one of those Christmas bulb ornaments like the ones I showed you that I did with my embroidery machine last year. So that's what I made the person who got my gift. And I got this gift from one of the women in the club. And I saw it, and I didn't think at the time to ask her, but when I went back to Embroidery Club, because we only meet once a month, I went back in January and asked her how she did this, and she told me that one of the women that works in the store gave them a demo on how to make these before I joined Embroidery Club. So I made arrangements with her to go in so she could show me how to make it. And this one, she used double-sided quilting fabric, so she didn't line it because she didn't need to, because it was already double-sided. But as you can see, this one measures 7.5 inches by 9 inches. Now I use this one to keep all of my tools in when I travel for beading. I like to take my beading with me, and I was able to put all of my tools that I use in here and actually put this in my suitcase. So I travel with smaller tools than when I'm actually at home using my bigger tools. So I really like this size here, so I probably will be making some more of those. And then when I made the first one, when she gave me the demo on how to do it, this is the size that I made. And I think this measures, let's see, 6.5 by 6. And this is actually the size of the ones that I made for the ladies in the knitting club, except for that one where I only had a small amount of fabric. I think that one was only 6 by 5. So that's what I've been doing sewing wise. Now, I've also done some jewelry using the embroidery machine. So I'm going to go ahead and gather that up, and I'll show you what I've done. Okay, everybody, so I'm going to go ahead and show you what I've done with the embroidery machine making jewelry. And these are some of the things that I worked on while I was on break. So I went ahead and I made these 2 necklaces. Now, the pattern actually said that this was earrings, but they were just a little too big for me. I don't wear my earrings that big. I do wear hoop earrings, but nothing like this that big. So I ended up taking them and making a pendant or necklace out of it instead. Now, I did this one first, and I did this with 100% cotton thread, and it kind of came out rather thick and heavy, and I did find that my thread kept breaking a lot when I was making this one, so I did want to finish it up, so I went ahead and finished it, and then I switched to a different thread, and I made this one, which I really like the way this one came out. And I just added this little ribbon necklace for each one to wear around my neck. So now for my earrings that I also did using the embroidery machine, this is the first pair that I made. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see these. So they look like this. And they are also made out of embroidery thread and using the embroidery machine. And it's an actual file that I purchased that I can go ahead and put into the machine, and then it sews it for me. So that's one pair. So I'm going to go ahead and just put on the next pair. And actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay them all out on this so that you can see them. So this is the other pair that I made using the same pattern, and it looks like this. I think that's the right side. So we have that pair, and then I'm a real big fan of flip-flops. I like to have anything that has flip-flops on it. I like to either wear or make jewelry out of. So that is another pair that I've made also. Yes, definitely I had to make the purple ones. So that was it that I made using the embroidery machine. And here's my other red pair of earrings. So as you can see, I was pretty busy there. Okay, so that's the jewelry that I made using the embroidery machine. So now the last thing I'm going to show you is some jewelry that I made actually using beads. I do a lot of bead work, and I don't show how to do beadwork jewelry or tutorials on that because I mostly take classes on how to make my jewelry, and I watch YouTube videos from others that have done tutorials on YouTube on how to do jewelry. So that's why I don't teach it, because I get the ideas from either classes or other YouTube videos. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I have made with some classes that I took while I was on my little break. So this is one of the first things that I did. I took this class to make this necklace and, this bracelet. And this is a bracelet by a woman who has several books, and she also teaches at the Bead and Button show that I have here in my city. And it is using what is called Super Duo and O beads. So that's what that one looks like. And her name is Anna Drager, in case any of you are familiar with beadwork and familiar with her patterns and things. And here is another bracelet that I also made. And as you noticed, I can pick things other than purple. I've got a blue here. And then I've also made this bracelet as well. And this was also a class. And then I also made this one, and this was also a class as well. And then the last one that I took a class on was this one right here. So I'm going to slide those up for a little bit. Now, I do have a necklace here that I made, and this was also a class that I took. And I take my classes mostly at the same bead shop. There are 3 different bead shops in my city. Here, I'm going to move these up and show this necklace. I think I'll turn it this way so you can see it. And I'll move those over and move that up. And I mostly take my classes at one particular place because Anna teaches at that store, and I like the things that she comes up with. So that's why I take them mostly at that store. But these 3 were all 4 were taken at one particular store, and then this one was taken at another one. And then the necklace was also taken at the store where I took the 3 bracelets. And then to go with this bracelet, I took a class. This is actually a YouTube video tutorial that I watched and learned how to make these. And in case you're interested, I will put a link to where I learned to make these earrings on YouTube down below in the description bar. So there are some other things that I made that I'm just going to show pictures of at the end of the video because I've already given them away. There were a couple of cards that were given away as gifts. So that's what I've been doing while I took my break in January and February. So even though I said I was taking a break, I was pretty busy. It's just that I decided to work on some other things besides card making and using my silhouette. So now when I come back in the next video, we're actually going to do a tutorial on a birthday card. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.